How much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S. takeover?
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way. And and by the way, I'm a fan of Denmark too, I have to tell you, and they've been very nice to me. I'm a big fan, but the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't mean that they own the land. I'm sure we had lots of boats go there also. But we need that because if you take a look outside of Greenland right now, there are Russian destroyers, there are Chinese destroyers and bigger, there are Russian submarines all over the place. We're not going to have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're going to do if we don't. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way. Please, go ahead, ma'am.
Mr. President, why is it so important to you to own it when you have a military presence there, which you could expand to affect the security?
Because when we own it, we defend it. You don't defend leases the same way. You have to own it. And, with a nation, look at what happened with Obama, with that horrible deal they made with Iran. It was a short-term deal. It was like a 9-year deal. Countries can't make 9-year deals or even 100-year deals. Countries have to have ownership. And you defend ownership, you don't defend leases. And we'll have to defend Greenland. If we don't do it, China or Russia will. It's not going to happen. We are not going to have, and I like China, I like Russia, I love the people of China, I love the people of Russia. I get along very well with President Putin, but I'm very disappointed in him. I get along very well with President Xi. I'm going to go over to China in April, but I don't want them as a neighbor in Greenland. Not going to happen. And by the way, and NATO's got to understand that. I'm all for NATO. I saved NATO. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have a NATO right now. But we're not going to allow Russia or China to occupy Greenland, and that's what's going to happen if we don't.
What you are essentially talking about here is the United States going to war with NATO. The United States going to war with Europe. I kind of can't believe that I'm going to talk to you about the consequences of invading Greenland, but I am, because you have to take Trump seriously now. Nobody thought that we were going to be invading Venezuela or running their country a few months ago, and now we are. So he says he wants Greenland. He says he's keeping the military option on the table. So let's just talk about what that means. Here's what you need to know. It's sort of a basic thing. Greenland is a part of Denmark. Denmark is a NATO country. And the NATO treaty says that if any member is attacked, then all the other members have to come to their defense. So what you are essentially talking about here is the United States going to war with NATO. The United States going to war with Europe. You're talking about the US and France being at war with each other over Greenland. We can't sort of sugarcoat this. That is what we're talking about here. Now, every NATO country would have to make a decision whether they were going to rush troops to Greenland to fight America. Some maybe wouldn't, some might. Who in the United States of America wants a war between the United States and Europe over Greenland? And Donald Trump, he just sees the world in terms of real estate, right? He's not trying to fix any of your problems. He just wants a ballroom. He wants a big land mass that he probably thinks is a lot bigger than it actually is because he looks at the wrong map projection. But you're talking about war between the United States and Europe. And so it's kind of insane that we have to explain this to him and to the American public. But understand that that's where we're at right now. The President of the United States entertaining an attempt to take Greenland by military force, which, by definition, might end up putting the United States in a shooting war with France.
On another important topic, the Premier of Greenland and the Premier of Denmark and other Danish officials are responding to a Twitter post from your wife, Katie Miller, herself a former Trump White House official, showing Greenland covered with an American flag, saying soon. After that was posted, President Trump repeated the claim that the U.S. needs Greenland for national security reasons. The Danish Prime Minister responded to this in an interview earlier today, as reported by Bloomberg, quote, "I believe one should take the American president seriously when he says that he wants Greenland, but I will also make it clear that if the U.S. chooses to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything stops, including NATO, and thus the security that has been established since the end of the Second World War." Can you rule out that the U.S. is ever going to try to take Greenland by force?
Well, let me go back a step. The president has been clear for months now, so I know you're treating this as breaking news. The president has been clear for months now that the United States should be the nation that has Greenland as part of our overall security apparatus. The United
Right, but
States
your wife posted that like hours after the Venezuela operation.
No, but
that's why it's newly relevant.
No, I'm not, and I'll talk with you about it for an hour. I think it's a really important conversation. I just wanted to reset, Jake, by making clear that it has been the formal position of the U.S. government since the beginning of this administration, frankly, going back into the previous Trump administration, that Greenland should be part of the United States. The president has been very clear about that. That is the formal position of the U.S. government.
Right, but can you say that military action against Greenland is off the table?
It wouldn't be military action against Greenland. The Greenland has a population of 30,000 people, Jake. The real question is, by what right does Denmark assert control over Greenland? What is the basis of their territorial claim? What is their basis of having Greenland as a colony of Denmark? The United States is the power of NATO. For the United States to secure the Arctic region, to protect and defend NATO and NATO interests, obviously Greenland should be part of the United States. And so that's a conversation that we're going to have as a country. That's a process we're going to have as a community of nations.
So you can't take it off the table that the U.S. would use military force to seize Greenland. You can't take it off the table.
Jake, I understand you're trying very hard to, which again, is your job. I respect it. It's great to get exactly the headline, right? That catchy headline.
I'm trying to get an answer to the question.
That says Miller refuses to rule out. The United States should have Greenland as part of the United States. There's no need to even think or talk about this in the context that you're asking of a military operation. Nobody's going to fight the United States militarily over the future of Greenland. So
one last question, Stephen.
Doesn't make any sense.
We have been very firm on the UN Charter. We have been very firm on the territorial integrity and sovereignty of countries that has to be respected. And we have been also talking to the American colleagues about these things. Of course, the messages that we hear regarding Greenland are extremely concerning, and we have had discussions also among the Europeans. If this is a real threat, and if it is, then what would be our response? So, as Denmark has been a good ally for United States, and all these statements are not really helping the stability of the world, I would say. The international law is very clear. We have to stick to it. It is clear that it is the only thing that protects smaller countries, and that's why it is in the interest of all of us, and we discussed this today as well, that we uphold the international law on all levels.